Oh, she's chooching. When you tune a Volkswagen, when you boost a German car, they get angry.
Sup? My name is Chris Windjammer, and my dad's a cop. I call every girl I know a C, and I use aimbots in every PvP FPS that I play. My dad works overtime every night, so I leave the door to my room open while I practice my butterfly knife, while my mom stays in the kitchen and prays to her guardian angel. My name's Chris Windjammer. I got straight B's on my report card. So, my dad helped me buy this Golf R. It's in his name, but it's technically mine because I paid for the APR Stage 2 tune with my own money that I made by selling Chinese vapes behind the propane tanks at Sheetz. I can't wait to sand all the paint off the driver's side quarter panel, pour Sam's Choice soda on it so it rusts, and that way I get street cred with all the other PA dubbers.
The Volkswagen Golf R story has about 4 twists and turns in it, and we're gonna go over each one. And I'm gonna make fun of this goofy car. At the same time, I'm telling you to enter this giveaway to win this 2013 Volkswagen Golf R with a 6-speed manual and an APR Stage 2 Plus tune, with intake, exhaust, ARP coils, and topped off with these Sparco wheels. I understand the dichotomy that's going on right here. Before we get into that, get in at fanofthem.com/regular cars. Grab some limited edition merch, and you're automatically entered to win this. Well, I don't know how much power the APR tune adds over the stock 292 horsepower, because I don't know anybody who has an all-wheel drive dyno who will let me use it for free.
Open road. Awesome. There is no sound. I apologize, I'm not wearing a lav mic. I want you to hear this exhaust. There's a tight corner. There is no me finishing this sentence because the car's so good. Awesome, 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 awesome. The thing about when you boost Volkswagen AG products like this, there is no turbo peak. It just goes up and over and down again. But this is not a normal Golf R. This is the APR Stage 2 Plus tune. And it takes the Golf R to radical levels. Oh my goodness. It's like, recently we did like a 2GR, swapped into an MR2, and I was amazed how fast that thing revved with a little bit of tuning. This is like that. Those 1 to 2 to 3 gears are over immediately. That was me going to redline every single time. Any day now. The whole world right now is moving in slow motion. I just want to go. Traction control good, all-wheel drive. Man, it's gonna be... Ugh. Words, Brian, words. You're an automotive journalist. Put it in 6th gear and think for a minute.
I think 350 crank. I mean, it's pulling like a Focus RS, and that's 350 horsepower and 350 foot-pounds of torque. It feels the same, so it makes sense to my feet and butt. Once again, click the link in the description. Go to fanofthem.com/regular cars. Grab some limited edition merch, and you're automatically entered to win this tuned Golf R. I'm having fun driving it, but I have to dig into the goofiness of this vehicle, because the story of the modern Golf R begins with the actor Peter Stormare and Volkswagen's remarkable advertising. In February of 2006, Volkswagen released a trio of television ads starring veteran actor Peter Stormare. You remember him as the bad guy who put Steve Buscemi in the wood chipper at the end of Fargo. Peter Stormare, who brilliantly portrayed Lucifer opposite Keanu Reeves in the movie Constantine and stole the spotlight for that entire movie. It's the greatest scene in the movie. It's maybe the greatest portrayal of the devil anybody has ever done. Peter Stormare, who played the lead German nihilist in The Big Lebowski, We believe in nothing, Lebowski. I can't do an accent. Opposite Jeff Bridges. Peter Stormare, who played one of the Russian gangsters in John Wick, again opposite Keanu Reeves. Hey Pete, we know you're an actor who dissolves into a role more than Tom Hardy, and you're probably really busy, but you want to do some commercials for Volkswagen? And you'd think he'd say no, but Pete is so grounded, he said, not only am I taking this gig, but I'm gonna treat it like a Coen Brothers film. And what resulted was one of the best car commercials ever made. Stormare, opposite actor Sonia Verstendijk, openly mocked the very customers Volkswagen wanted to attract. Because this was the mid-2000s. Tuner culture had reached its loudest, most neonist, most accessorized, maximum subwooferness period. Being a car enthusiast in the second Bush Jr. administration meant strapping the most amount of BS onto your compact car, getting the loudest blow-off valve you could buy, usually HKS, and acting like an asshat from Tacoma to Key West. Now, most manufacturers just went along with trends. Ford had leaned into tuner culture with their SVT division. Dodge did the same thing with the 250 horsepower SRT4 Neon. Honda had their SIs. Toyota even got into it with their XRS Matrix and the Corolla XRS, and Subaru was always present with the North American debut of the WRX in 2004. So the market was saturated with fast, loud cars and an aftermarket culture to support them. And of course, Fast and the Furious films was at their peak then as well. So you'd think that Volkswagen, who, by the way, invented the hot hatch with the Gen 1 Golf GTI, would follow trends. But they did the opposite. The GTI and the Golf Rs became restrained in the 2000s. Sure, they still made power, but the styling became conservative, cleaner. No wings, no hood scoops, no splitters or appearance packages. For this Golf R, just one little badge up front, and that's it. And there's another example on the inside. The Golf R, which has the biggest turbo of all the Golfs, doesn't even have a boost gauge. And to drive all this point home, Volkswagen created those 3 ads where an eccentric German scientist destroys customer cars, first with a shipping crate, then with a wrecking ball, and finally with a trebuchet. And when the customer cars are destroyed, a clean white Golf GTI is revealed. Peter Stormare comically flashes V-dub with his fingers, gangsta style, all with a stereotypical German accent, which is reminiscent of the one he created for the nihilist character in The Big Lebowski. And the commercials worked. They worked. They were funny, memorable, shareable. That's another thing. The Stormare ads were viral in the infancy of social media, and Volkswagen couldn't keep GTIs and Golf Rs on the dealer lots. See, Volkswagen was just saying what everybody was thinking in 2006. Oh, you know what? You're right. I am tired of having to drive a teenage clown car if I want something fast and small. Thank you, Volkswagen, for offering something that looks mature but is still fast. Now, most people were happy with the Golf GTI, but for people who wanted something serious, Volkswagen made the following changes for the Golf R. Oh, before we get into this real quick, the Mark VI Golf R had a lot to prove because this was the first year that any Golf with an R trim didn't come with the cultish R32 V6 engine. Yeah, that 3.2 liter VR6 where both banks of the V shared the same cylinder head. But in the 6th generation, the Golf R had a Turbo 4 just like the GTI. And dubbers were like,
Oh, this is bullshit! I won't be special anymore! What am I paying for a Golf R for if it has the same engine as the GTI? Yeah, my name is Sebastian, but everybody calls me Seabass. And I have a Harley Davidson AA3 Sportster, and I keep renewing my motorcycle permit because I don't know how to do a figure 8 box. My name is Sebastian, but everybody calls me Seabass.
The Golf R engine is different than the GTI in the following ways. The Golf R has longer duration cam lobes on the variable exhaust cams. The Golf R eliminated the air pump on the cylinder head. The cylinder head on the Golf R is 3 pounds lighter than the GTI head. The R's engine block, while identical to the GTI, is made in Germany, not Mexico. The R's pistons are dished wider and deeper, lowering the compression from 9.6 to 1 to 9.3 to 1 to make room for higher boost pressure from the larger turbo. There is one misconception that dubbers will argue about. They think because the connecting rods are forged, the pistons are forged as well. They're not. The pistons are cast. They're high quality pressure cast, but not forged. And that same goes for the GTI. The only Volkswagen Golf that didn't use forged connecting rods was the 1.8T. Now those are cast. Same goes with the crank. All are cast. Sorry, tuners. But speaking of tuners, we have to talk about tuner culture, which emerged out of the anti-tuner image Volkswagen was going for. You remember the tagline, pre-tuned by German engineers. This next bit is for my fellow Pennsylvanians. You know what I'm talking about when I say PA dubbers, but those of you outside the northeastern states will need an explanation. A PA dubber is a Volkswagen owner from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania who, after tuning their Jetta, Golf, Passat, maybe their mini truck or Rabbit, will intentionally make their car look dirty, haggard, damaged, and loud, all for street cred. A PA dubber will grind off paint from a quarter panel to encourage rust. They will drill holes in mufflers to make the car sound broken or straight pipe it completely. They will intentionally dent or scrape their car to make it look abused. Mismatched wheels are common, and so is running one USDM headlight and one E-code. You'll find external oil coolers, both real and fake. And I'm sure you've seen X's over headlights made out of electrical tape to give the impression that the driver is going to or coming back from a racetrack where the rules say you have to tape your headlights in the event of a crash to keep them in one piece, so there's less debris to pick up. Shift boots are swapped for Crown Royal bags. Sometimes floor mats and carpets are torn out and replaced with diamond plate steel or, better yet, road signs. All to make their perfectly functioning Volkswagen look like it rolled out of the junkyard. And I think the reason PA dubber style took off in the 20-teens is because of the Stormare ads and the clean minimalist styling of the Mark V and 6 Golfs. If the tuning scene for Volkswagen wasn't going to follow established trends, it had to go somewhere new. If traditional tuning style favored bright colors, polish, lighting, accessories, and clean engine bays, then the Volkswagen scene would go in the opposite direction in a display of objective defiance. And that style is visible here in this Golf R, although by a smaller degree. There is no intentional rusting or missing floor mats, but the APR tune does make this Golf R sound dirty. It growls and hisses. The engine bay is not pristine, and okay, what is this? Gold leaf heat shield? Tell me you play Keno unironically without telling me.
Do you remember these keys? The switchblade keys that Volkswagen started doing around the 2000s? I remember when these things came out, and some of my friends got Golfs or Jettas from back then. This is what they did all the time. I was still in college at the time, in grad school. And there were some students, some grad, some undergrad. This is what they did all the time with this thing. I mean, who knew? Volkswagen was making fidget toys before fidget toys. I apologize for having noise canceling on right now, but I have the air conditioning on full blast because my outside temperature gauge is showing 91 degrees. But Volkswagen knows what they're doing with air conditioning. I've only been in the car 2 minutes and it's already blowing ice cold in here. Also, by the way, Volkswagen, American cars are known for having very good heated seats, but Volkswagen AG back then, these seat heaters are nuclear hot. There's 3 settings to them. You better pick setting number 1 before you do anything.
Tell me that's not hot enough for you. Setting number two is like, ooh, wow, I'm boiling my balls. And then third setting is just, this is just torture. When you're inside a Mark 6 Golf, you really understand what the company was going for with this whole cut above, making fun of tuner culture, because everything inside here is clean and simple. And also for those of you who don't want a lot of tech in your cars, this is before the era of multifunction display integration. I have a CD player here, and then I have an SD card reader right here. So you can get an SD card, just rip all the tunes you want, put it on that, and you're good for the rest of your life. You know, no commercials, no streaming, no anything. The only feature this car lacks, which would have been helpful, would be a rear camera. There is no rear camera assist. This is a tight corner. There's no rear camera assist because this is from an age before that was federally mandated in the US. So they did have rear cameras. Deer, where there's one, there's 5. There's a young one too. You could have a rear camera if you asked for it. This car doesn't have one. And I find it odd that this is a Golf R, the most amount of money you could possibly pay for a Golf in 2013, and they didn't give you a rear camera. But then again, it wasn't federally mandated back then. Volkswagen always wanted to make the shifting of these cars very smooth with precise entry and exits through the gears. They're not really the bolt action shifting that you get in a Honda, and certainly not a Honda S2000, which I adore. This is a shifter in which you sort of ignore the act of changing gears. I mean, you can shift Fast and the Furious aggressively if you want to. Also, very tall gearing as well. You're gonna find that in traffic, such as we are here, like a back road, you are not going to be using 6. In fact, it doesn't even really want 5th, it wants 4th. With 5th and 6th in these, it's still, and I apologize for making some stereotypical observations that you make about higher end German cars. So your upper gears are very, very tall. I believe this thing hits fuel cut at the EU mandated 155 miles an hour. I've heard, and you can double check me on this, I heard that a Golf R, if you de-restrict it, will hit a $180. Now that's, I don't know if you're floating valves at that point. I mean, I certainly could see maybe 165, maybe 170. So maybe some of this is just the whole PA dubber lore trying to ascribe mythical status to the 6th generation Golf R. I also do like it that the flat part of the dash up here is perfectly aligned for a phone mount, and the phone can sit right in front of the air conditioning duct because you're going to be using your phone for navigation, and you can have air conditioning blowing on the back of your phone so your phone doesn't overheat. The 6th generation Golf R also has hill control or hill assist. That's, you know, where it holds the transmission, or it holds the brakes just a little bit so the car doesn't roll back. There isn't a setting to turn that off. Some people don't like hill assist. Some people find it intrusive. And to be honest, I was that way with my Subaru Forester. Now that one was a fully mechanical hill assist with a second brake, with a second cable that just pulled on the brake master cylinder. So I just disconnected that cable. And since it wasn't really connected to the computer, it didn't throw any codes. And I see the traction control button there. I noticed when I hit the traction control to turn it off, nothing happens. You gotta press and hold. Traction control ASR is deactivated. Now, I don't believe that. I think in a Golf R, it says it's deactivated, but still will kick in emergencies. And I don't think with an APR Stage 2 Plus tune, that traction control isn't even over. I think it's ingrained in the ECU. You can turn it off, but it's never really off. But then again, this isn't a Ford Focus RS. You aren't really meant to drift these things. You are meant to track these things.
Thank you for watching this video. Go to fanofthem.com/regularcars buy some limited edition merch, and you're automatically entered to win this very fast, very tuned Volkswagen Golf R. The more astute among you may remember that this was the first engine that Volkswagen put into mass production that had direct injected, fuel injected only. And these engines had issues with carbon fouling on the valves. That's not the case with this one. This has been almond blasted by PSI Tuning of Lansdale, Pennsylvania. They did a wonderful job. This engine's running like new. You're good for another 100,000 miles. I'm merely saying this, one, because it's a very nice shop, and two, there are people who will comment, that's the first thing they're going to ask, how many miles are on this? There was 107,000 miles, and the next question Volkswagen people will always ask with the Golf R is, when was the valves done? And the answer was today. Anyway, click the link on the description, go to fanofthem.com, buy some limited edition. Anyway, click the link on the description, go to fanofthem.com/regular cars, buy some limited edition merch, and you're automatically entered to win this glorious Golf R. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week.